Go.
My name is Kjenstad, and the book I'm reading is The Adventures of Captain Underpants. Being one of the most banned books in America, this book has been banned because of the inappropriate language for the intended age group. The rest of the afternoon went something like this. People shouting everywhere, "Hey, someone put sea monkeys in the lemonade!" to, "Someone glued the bathroom door shut!" Before long, most of the fans in the bleachers had gotten up and left. The big game had been a forfeit, and everyone in the entire school was miserable. Everyone, that is, except for the two giggling boys crouched in the shadows under the bleachers. "Those were the best pranks yet," laughed Harold. "Yup," chuckled George. "They'll be hard to top for sure." "I just hope we don't get busted for this," said Harold. "Don't worry," said George. "We covered our tracks pretty well. There's no way they're going to bust us." The next day at the school, the announcement came over the loudspeakers. "George Beard, Harold Hitches, please report to Principal Crump's office at once." "Oh no," said Harold. "I don't like the sound of that." "Don't worry," said George. "They can't prove anything." George and Harold entered the Principal Crump's office and sat down in the chairs at the front of his desk. The two boys had been in the office together countless times before, but this time was a little bit different. Mr. Crump was smiling. As long as George and Harold had known Mr. Crump, they had never, ever seen him smile. Mr. Crump knew something. "I didn't see you boys at the big game yesterday," said Mr. Crump. "Oh, no," said George. "We weren't feeling well." Yeah, Harold stumbled nervously. "We went home." "Aw, that's too bad," said Principal Crump. "You boys missed a good game." George and Harold quickly glanced at each other and gulped, and tried hard not to look guilty. "Luckily for you, I have a videotape of the whole thing," said Mr. Crump. He turned on the television and in the corner pressed the play button on the VCR. A black and white image appeared on the TV screen. It was an overhead shot of George and Harold sprinkling pepper in the cheerleaders' pom-poms. Next came a shot of George and Harold pouring liquid bubble bath into the marching band's instruments. "How do you like the pregame show?" said Mr. Crump, with a devilish grin. George's eyed the television screen in terror. He couldn't answer. Harold's eyes were glued to the floor. He couldn't look. The tape went on and on, revealing George and Harold behind-the-scenes antics. By now, the boys were eyeing the floor, squirming nervously, and dripping with sweat. Mr. Crump turned the TV off.
Excellent.